Salvete omnes, this is Amelia, also known as TheMartianGeek, and welcome back to another episode of Mega Man X3. In the last episode, well, I'm not really sure what to say about this one, actually. This stage was kinda nondescript. The boss, though, he was a bit problematic with his bouncing green orbs of doom. But the weapon we got from him is used for one item in this stage. You can see that body P showing up there in pink. The fact that it's in pink means that we have not gotten that item yet. And this one actually is a good bit into the stage, so I will see you at its location. Okay, so to get up here, you need to take the second elevator all the way up. We've actually already been up here. I showed off this part when I actually did the stage. We have this mysterious object here, and it actually kind of shows you what you're supposed to do. That nice new weapon we got from Gravity Beetle, we need to take that, and we need to charge it up. Charge it up, and we get a gravity effect that affects the whole screen, and actually raises this thing up to the top, allowing you to get this Dr. Light capsule. The final one, or at least, yeah, let's just say it's the final one. Enter this Capsule X. Take this armor upgrade. The upgrade will decrease the damage done to your systems. As you receive damage, a defense field will be generated to protect you. So yeah, this is the body part. And as usual, it reduces your damage, the damage you take, by 50%. And in this game it also creates a bit of a force field that, honestly, I've never seemed to get much use out of, but let's at least show what the part does. So yeah, I'm taking half damage now. And you can't take damage while the force field is up, but it doesn't really seem to last much longer than your regular invincibility, so not all that useful. But that's all we needed in this stage. Let's exit. I do love Volt Catfish's stage music, though. So, it's time for our final Maverick. And in case you're wondering what all those question marks are about that we haven't gotten, well, I'll cover those in another episode. There's something I'm actually not going to get right now. In any case, though, it's time for Toxic Seahorse. He resides in a sewer stage. And I do him last because, well, his weapon is not used for anything, nor is anything you'd get from his stage. And his boss battle is actually kind of a pain. You'd actually be doing him second if you were going by weakness order and starting with Blizzard Buffalo, which is kind of dangerous. You get to see this thing in action again, and 3 hidden items. We have a heart tank, we have a thing. We have a right armor piece, that's it, what I was going to say. And we have one other thing that, again, I'm not going to cover this time. Suffice it to say that, well, pay attention to which stages had the question marks and which ones had the Dr. Light parts. Anyway, that's a bottomless pit down there, and we are now climbing through sewage. It doesn't seem to affect your movements any, though. Ah, really? 1 unit of health. That didn't even look like it should have been able to hit me. Hey, drop it. Ah. You want to drop a health thing? Thank you. Yeah. This part of the stage is just a lot of vertical climbing. You don't need to have the vertical air dash for this, of course. And actually, it's not really as much of a pain in the butt without it as that last section of Crushed Crawfish's stage was. But it does still help, like right there. Also, health power-up that's running down the sewage, apparently. And conspicuous gap in the ceiling. That's how you get the heart tank in this stage. So I guess the fact that you don't need any weapons or parts or anything to get the heart tank might make this stage a reasonable candidate for doing early on. Still though, I'm just so bad at fighting the actual boss of this stage that I'd rather not. The stage itself isn't really that hard though. It's probably the closest thing this game has to a water stage as well. And in fact, speaking of water stages, let's actually show off what the Frogga Ride Armor is supposed to be used for. I'm not going to use it for fighting anything, but let's hop down to the... What? I did not go backward. I may have pressed A, but I was not aware that pressing A made you go backward, because it doesn't. So yeah, now we drop down into the water. We have spiked turtles. And the ride armor doesn't do a whole lot more in water, it just doesn't blow up, because... See, why don't I... Here's what happens if you try to take another ride armor into the water. Be it the Chimera, the Hawk, or the one that we will get in this stage. It shorts out, its health bar depletes to 0, and... Flash, flash, flash. And kaboom. Yeah. So you don't want to shoot too many of these turtles because you can't defeat them permanently and their shells go up to the surface of the water. And we're going to need to get up to the surface in a minute here because there's an item up there and I can never remember exactly where it is. Frost Shield, as you can see, is bigger in water, as I said. And charge up the Frost Shield in water, and... Ice Block. You need to ride this all the way up. No! Little too far to the right. You can see that platform over there. I think that if you jump on top of the water carefully enough, you actually can do this without the Frost Shield, but it's so much easier with. Also, that isn't exactly in a place that is easy to find either. But we got the K ride armor. K for Kangaroo. And once again, can't really show off that right now. Also, something's pushing us back. It's a current, and it means we can't go down there. At least not along this path. We need to go over there, but we need to do it from here. And the turtles are also not fond of spikes. Just be careful about how you move here, because, well, spikes and turtles. And here is a sub-boss door, and this time we actually are fighting a real sub-boss. Toxic Seahorse's stage does indeed have one. Not a very threatening one, admittedly, but it's a giant robot squid, and its tentacles, for whatever reason, do not hurt you. It would be a lot harder if they did, but as it is, it just shoots missiles that hit you like that, as well as mines, and it goes down fairly quickly. But its defeat sequence is just as dramatic as the sub-boss of the sub-boss of Tunnel Rhino's stage. You know, I really hate that when I get a large health pickup when I am only missing 1 unit of health. Pretty sure later X games, if that happened, would put the remainder in your sub-tanks, and I like that. I wish that were the case with this game. Speaking of sub-tanks, I just heard the sound of my last one being filled. So besides being a sewer stage, this stage also takes place on top of a dam. I like the scenery here. Unfortunately, you don't get to enjoy it for very long because 90% of the stage is spent not outside. Come back down here, watch out for the spikes, and it helps to have defeated Blast Hornet before coming here because then those missiles won't home in on you, and you'll just have an easier time there. Also, apparently that part is a lot harder to get through without dashing or air dashing. Also, boss time, and I have full health. About as full as it's gonna get because I've gotten all 8 heart tanks, unless I'm forgetting something. That will, however, not guarantee me a surefire victory. It's Toxic Seahorse. NT already hit me. Oh yeah, and I have the armor too, so half damage. He loves to do 2 things. Jump around like a complete spaz, and throw acid at you. And destroying the acid seems like a good idea, because if you leave it on screen, it will drop many little acid bubbles that you also have to worry about dodging. This guy's just so darn unpredictable and random. And now he's on to his third phase. His second phase was where he shoots 2 acid things instead of 1, and they bounce. Yeah, I'm not exactly doing a perfect run here. I am taking damage all over the freaking place. And when he turns into toxic sludge and melts like that, you can't do anything to him. It's not exactly a threatening thing to dodge, because all you really have to do is stay on the walls. But yeah, a toxic seahorse is kind of annoying. I never really figured out a good strategy for him. To think at least one game guide suggested taking him on first. Maybe the author knew something I didn't. His weapon isn't all that useful either. It turns us green and yellow and has one of the more interesting CX4 rendered icons. Wireframe, whatever. You get Acid Burst. It's more useful than, say, Frost Shield, but still not an amazing weapon or anything. But now that we've defeated all 8 Mavericks, we get a cutscene. Any problems, Dr. Kane? I pulled some memory chips from the Mavericks controlled by Dr. Doppler. I analyzed them and found out that Dr. Doppler is trying to create a powerful new battle body by collecting the special abilities from the latest breed of Reploids. Battle body? First, I thought Dr. Doppler was trying to create it for himself. The information indicates that he will not be able to interface with it. So it must be for someone else. Sigma? You don't say. Can he still be alive? A hidden laboratory has been pinpointed at point D. All indications are that it is Dr. Doppler's secret lab. You need to get there immediately. On my way. It's time I put an end to Sigma for good. And teleport out. So that is all 8 Mavericks down. All 8 special weapons collected. As well as all the heart tanks, sub-tanks, and Dr. Light parts, sort of. And we now have access to the fortress stages. But we will worry about those in the next episode, so I will see you next time.